All right. Hello. 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 Welcome to my channel, everyone. So good to see you all. While you all make your way in, for anyone new, my name is Jake Ray. I am a hypnotherapist as well as a future vision guide. And I'm going to talk more about that future visioning and what that can look like in today's show. Before we get into it, though, of course, please make sure you head on over to my website, which I'll pull up in a moment here. And there we go. All right. Make sure you guys head on over to my website to find out more about my practice, as well as to check out my bookings. If you go to the bookings page, which I'll click on there for you, bring it on over here, and you can see that I've got my one-on-one sessions, the free preliminary consultation. So if you've got questions or if you're not sure exactly what route you want to go with my services, I can answer those questions. We can talk about your goals. And then I also have my group workshop coming up, which I will pull up that graphic to show you guys. So for those who are not familiar, I am doing a workshop in just about a week here. It'll be next Sunday. That's the 22nd of June, 6 p.m. as you can see there. And it's just $22 live on Zoom. And it is going to be a fabulous time. If you've never worked with past lives, that's okay. This is supposed to be beginner friendly. If you have worked with past lives, that's okay. This is something for anyone. So if you are looking for a way to tap into your past, whether that be past in this lifetime or past in another lifetime, there's so much that can be gained from this, whether that be breaking out of patterns or breaking cycles that you have been stuck in, and maybe that is for lifetimes. But so often we can try everything to break those patterns, and it takes a little bit of that deeper work, tapping into your subconscious and really digging deep to be able to shake loose of that and to move past that. Things like relationship problems or relationship patterns. It could be health things that are not resolved or are not, you haven't been able to solve through other means, where maybe that insight, that clarity is from your past. And with that, you're able to let that go. So the workshop is definitely not quite as in-depth as a one-on-one session, of course, but it is a great introductory way to dip your toes into the water and get something out of your past, to work through something, to release something. So if any of that resonates with you, please make sure you check that out. I do have some more info on my socials, and I'll be sharing more information as the week goes on, as we lead up to this workshop. So make sure you grab your tickets. It's going to be a great time, and I hope to see you all there. And then last but not least, I wanted to let you guys know I've got that show scheduled for next Friday. Corbin and I will be coming back with you guys to discuss the Cancer new moon that's coming up. And it's going to be a great show as always. So make sure you guys come and tune in for that 5 p.m. next Friday. All right. Let me find my way back over here. And I see lots of Soul Family in the chat. Hello, Corbin. Thank you so much for your mod work in the chat. And we're looking forward to next week's show. We've got Carol. Hello, hello. So good to see you. Oh, we've got Sylvia as well. Thank you so much. It is going to be an interesting subject, and you'll enjoy the replay for sure. I know it's late there for you, so enjoy your sleep. All right, all right. And yes, thank you, Corbin, for popping in the link there. You guys can access those tickets real easy through my website, through that link. The link is down below. Made it real easy for you guys. All right, all right. Let me just navigate back to my notes here. So today's show. Have you ever felt that pull to move, or that urge to move, or that desperation to get out of your current place, but maybe you didn't know where or how or when? There can be so many different questions that come up when we approach the topic of moving or relocation. And especially if you are searching for that dream home that you you have this vision of maybe in your mind, but you haven't tapped into it yet. You don't know how that will look. You don't know how to find that. So we're going to talk a little bit today about some of those common roadblocks that can stand in your way, those things that people run into, the things that I've seen clients come to me with that have prevented them from making a smooth move or understanding that where, when, or how. I'm also going to share some client stories as well, a couple of clips from those sessions to give you some real life examples of how I've helped clients to navigate this sort of a thing and gain that insight from their future to find that home that they're dreaming of. And then I also wanted to share my personal experience as well, because I've moved quite a few times over my life, and more recently have been utilizing this future visioning, this tapping into future timelines to help with our current move. And it's been pretty huge. It's been quite the tool that has been helpful. So I'm going to share all of that with you guys. Before we get into it though, thank you, Corbin, for the reminder. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you share this out with someone who else may be moving or may benefit from this information. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss any future content and you stay up to date on what I've got going on my channel. All right. Oh, we've got Emma joining in the chat. Hello, Emma. So good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in. So guys, I'm sure that many of you have moved in your life. I think most of us go through that at least a couple times within our lifetime. And some of us move very frequently. You know, I started my life, I was born out in California. We moved to northern Minnesota when I was 6, and then spent most of my childhood and teen years up in northern Minnesota, and then moved back out to California when I was 18, moved back to Minnesota a few years later. And so I've moved around a lot, and I have had some smooth moves and I've had some pretty rough moves as well. And there are those times where I've felt more in control of that move process. And then there's other times where I feel forced into it or feel kind of kicked over the edge and forced into making decisions or making moves, and maybe I didn't have all of the tools or all of the knowledge that I may have wanted. And yeah, it looks like Emma's moved a few times as well. Seen a number of houses since I left school. Absolutely. And many of us do, right? It is a common thing to move around, especially in today's day and age. I feel like the world is in a lot of ways a smaller place and you can move around more easily. But so often we run into these challenges. We have these roadblocks, or and some of them are real, some of them are fabricated, some of them are in our minds, and some of them are in real life. And so there's a lot of different things and factors that can play into this idea. But when we encounter those roadblocks, or especially if we are unsure or don't have that confidence, sometimes those roadblocks can be strictly mental and they can prevent us from taking action. So one of those that I've seen a lot, and I know that I've felt this at various points in my life, let me know if you have as well, is that feeling of being stuck. You know, I've talked to people before where they say, well, it's impossible for me to move. I just can't do it. You know, maybe it's the job, you can't lose your job, or you can't relocate your job, or maybe it's family stuff where your family is really locked into your position. And while that is certainly a valid excuse, I suppose, or a valid roadblock in some cases, there are times where that move needs to be delayed for one reason or another. But so often that feeling stuck or feeling like it's impossible, that's our ego. And our ego is there trying to keep us comfortable, trying to keep us in that perceived safety. And so this is definitely something that people can struggle with. And there are certainly ways to overcome this, right? So another one that I've seen folks experience when they're looking at moving or they're looking at relocating is that fear of making the wrong move. And I'm going to raise my hand right away and say I've had that quite a few times. And that fear can be crippling, right? that fear of making the wrong move can happen in a lot of areas of our lives, and can certainly be the case in this relocation process too, where we are afraid to make the wrong move, to end up somewhere where we're not supposed to be, or where we're not going to have support, or maybe it's moving somewhere that you've never been before. And so it can be that, will it be right for me? Will it be the right fit? Fear is one of those things that can really get in our way when we're trying to move forward in life, especially with moves and with relocations. And, I've heard this quite a few times, that moving is one of the most stressful things in our lives, one of the most stressful events that we can experience. And having done it a few times, I can attest. And I feel like the older you get, the more complicated your life gets, the more that stress can build, or that it can be stressful to think about this sort of a process, right? Oh, I love that, Corbin. Exactly. Call out that ego. It's so true. When we have those thoughts that are keeping us small, those thoughts that are keeping us contained, or in a stagnant position, call that ego out. And as soon as you start to address it, it does start to quiet. And sometimes it can take practice. It can take multiple tries and multiple reinforcements to quiet that ego down. But the more we practice it, the more we can move past it. I love it. I love it. Oh, and I love this comment. I found moving is easy. House ownership is not. Well, and that's the thing, is we're all built differently. And so for some of us, those things that can stress others out are not an issue for us. I definitely have known people who, drop of a hat, will move and uproot their life and go. So it's certainly, there are lots of experiences out there. There's lots of ways of perceiving the world, right? And the house ownership piece, well, that certainly is its own beast, right? As a homeowner, I totally understand that, Emma. Oh yeah, right, Carol. As with most things in life, there's always maintenance. So that fear piece, fear is a real big one. And the methods that I've learned to help folks navigate this sort of a thing and to gain that insight and clarity from their future helps to mitigate that fear and to move past it. So we'll get into that in a moment. But financial unknowns, that's another one. And of course, fear can be a part of that too, right? Fear can pop up in a lot of different ways. But financial unknowns is one of those things that I've noticed is a real issue for a lot of folks with the moving process, and totally makes sense, right? Houses and property are some of the more expensive things that we pay for in our lives, and it can cost a lot to move as well, besides just the cost of the home or the property itself. But especially in our current world, where things are a little bit in flux, things are a little uncertain in a lot of ways. And I think that added stress of just the kind of general chaos of the world and the ways that our financial systems are shifting and changing can bring in a lot of unknowns, and can make an already stressful situation even more stressful. And so that's why I think having new tools to deal with this and new tools to navigate life is so key. And I think that's why things like hypnosis, things like diving into the future and tapping into those timelines in this new way, it's gaining popularity, and more people are realizing that they have these new tools, and there are different ways that we can approach these problems that are not the old ways. And when it comes to finances, I mean, maybe it's uncertainty around mortgage, or what can I afford? What will I be able to maintain? It could be, like we've talked about, the markets and how the markets can be uncertain. And the last thing you want is to buy at the wrong time and lose your investment. There's so much complication within that. And so that realizing that you have ways that you can navigate this besides just guesswork, or, being some financial guru, which some people are, but we are not all that way. And so knowing that you have different tools, I think is really key. And that's part of why I wanted to bring this message to you guys today. The last piece on the finances is that, we oftentimes can be, again, from our ego, very stuck in our current reality. And maybe your current financial limitations or your current financial reality is holding you back from what you feel called to or what you feel drawn to. And so that's where too, there's that, what am I trying to say? It's like when you tap past that conscious thought, and you move past those limiting beliefs, and you see a different reality. You see yourself in a home that is your dream. You see yourself in that property or on that property that feels right. That can help you to shift. So more on that in a moment. The other thing that I've seen with folks, and I think is certainly a problem that some people are seeing today, is that difficulty in selling their home. So it's all well and good to find that dream home, or maybe exactly where you want to go, but you can sometimes struggle to sell your current home. And most folks are not in the financial position to just have multiple properties floating around. Certainly there are folks who are, but if you're struggling to sell your home, there can be so many different reasons for that. I heard of a client who, they were struggling to sell their house, and they had tried everything. They had gone to different realtors. They had dressed the house up. They had adjusted the pricing, and they just couldn't seem to sell this place. And what this client found out during the session was that there was real bad energy in their current home, and that there needed to be a clearing process that needed to happen in order for that house to sell. And this was kind of a surprise to that person, but they went ahead and they followed that advice from their future self. And when they finished with that house clearing, the house sold no problem. And so that's certainly something where the solution wasn't messing with the market or trying to futz with your pricing or to dress the house up in a different way. It was on an energetic level that block was happening. And so, when you're struggling to sell, that can be a real stressful situation, right? And so understanding and being able to gain insight into why is the house not selling, or how did you sell the house, really is so valuable, right? And with that piece, with the selling piece, with all of the other roadblocks that I mentioned, these are all things that are so valid. And from personal experience, I can tell you that oftentimes we go through these different feelings and fears and uncertainties, and it's very natural to do. And like I said, this is a very stressful situation in people's lives, and so it's something where it's totally justified and valid to have these feelings, but you don't need to sit in them. You don't need to let them dictate how you go about this moving process, because there really is you really are able to do something about it, to do something differently, to take action to change that. And so the hopeful piece is what I want to share mostly today, which is around what I have to offer and how I can help clients, help you guys to navigate this sort of a stressful situation, and to be able to get the insight and the clarity on your future steps. I did forget one last roadblock that I've seen, and this is certainly the case, I think, for a lot of folks these days, because we have so much information overload. But the idea of having too many options, or not having clarity on what it is that you want, or what's going to be best. And that's one of the things that I love about this work, is the ability to sort of test out timelines, and to look at your different options, to understand how those options can play out, and then to be able to make the best decision for you with that knowledge, with that information, with that clarity, right? So, sorry guys, I'm getting on a roll here, and I see that we have friends in the chat, and we have great chats coming through. So thank you guys for engaging in the chat. It always is fun. I do try my best to keep track of what's going on, but keeping track of my notes, keeping track of you guys, it can be hard. So I love what Emma said, though. Excellent new tools for the new world. Absolutely. And I see that Britt Merritt has joined us. So good to see you. So glad you were able to join. And Carol, I think I said hello to you, but if I didn't, hello, hello. Carol says, really great timing, Jake. We talked to a bank today to get pre-approved. Ooh, look at that. You are on, we are synced up, I suppose, right? And that's the thing, as I was really feeling this message was important for today. It was important for this moment. And I think that there's a lot of people that are desiring a shift and a change in their realities, in their home life, in their properties. And I think it's a really important time to make those moves, to make those shifts, because if you're feeling that push, there's a reason. And so that's why I wanted to share kind of what I have to offer and how these techniques can help folks to find this information. So all in all, though, the other last piece that I wanted to share before diving into my process and sharing a little bit more there is that with all of these roadblocks and with the challenges that can come up with moving, it's so easy to focus on the negatives and to focus on those things that we don't want or that we're trying to move away from, especially if your current housing situation isn't ideal or isn't what you want. There can be, it's so easy to focus on the negative. And that's why I think that future visioning, tapping into the future in this way, allows for you to not just focus on kind of vague positivity or, well, it's all going to work out, right? It's about giving you that insight, that clarity, that information to know what positive things you want to focus on, to have that future property in your mind so that you can really focus on it, so you can draw it towards you and so you can move towards it as efficiently and quickly as possible, right? So without further ado, let's talk about future visioning. So this is definitely a new way that I have about talking about dipping into the future, looking into the future. Future life progression is the kind of underlying technique here. But when we talk about future visioning, it's really about helping and guiding you guys as the clients to get that vision of your future, to tap into that, to be able to see and to have that clarity of vision in your present, right? Because there is just, the world is moving so quickly, and the housing market and property stuff is no different. It's all changing and moving quickly as well. And so I think that's where tapping into your future, tapping into those timelines helps you to have that insight, have that path forward, so that you're not just stumbling around in amongst your options, or you're just hoping for the best, because there are ways that you can tap into this, right? Oh, I love this so much, Britt Merritt. I really need your information, Jake. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're here then, because it definitely is, I think, important. So let's see. So ultimately, when we're looking at future visioning, when we're looking at a session, this is about aligning with what you want, what your goals are. And so, the session where you're looking at different options is going to be different than if you have no idea where you want to move. If you have different options, we can look into those different options for you. We can tap into those different timelines to get you the insight into how that plays out. And it's really quite profound how accurate we can be in this, and how thoroughly we can find out this information. Now, I will say, not all information is available at all times. There are pieces of the puzzle that are withheld because you need to live that experience. You need to go through it in order to live your life. And so when we're going through a session, we talk beforehand, you and I, about what you're hoping to get out of this. What are your top priorities? Because maybe you're really concerned about your neighbors, but you don't really care about where it is. Or maybe the location is super important, but you're looking for a big plot of land, so you don't care what the neighbors are like. So it's really about tailoring the session to you and what your goals are, what you're looking to get out of it. And with this as well, it's not just about seeing the future home, because that's where a lot of people have misconceptions around hypnosis or hypnotherapy about this sort of mind work, is that it's strictly visual. And the visual piece is certainly important. But what I've found most profound, both personally as well as with clients, is that the feelings and the emotions that come with the visions are the most profound pieces. And I say that because seeing your dream home is one thing. Feeling how it feels to be in your dream home is a totally different story. And when we tap into that feeling, when we tap into what it's like to live in that reality, to be that you, that future you who's in that home, it's such a powerful aligning tool to get you really laser focused in on that timeline, and to give you the tools to keep focusing on that, to keep coming back to that, so that you can keep moving towards that future. Because especially in today's world, we do have a lot of different options. And if we're not focused in our intention, if we're not focused in our energy, then we can get jerked around, we can get distracted, we can go down the wrong paths. And that's why I love this future timeline work, is because it allows you to really focus in and understand what it is that you're moving towards. So another way that I've seen a lot of value too is in my higher self work. So whether that be through my quantum healing hypnosis sessions or through my higher guidance hypnosis sessions, the higher self can also really help you understand your purpose in, not your purpose, but your property, your future home. It's one of many, many things that your higher self can help you with and support you with. And so that sort of an approach is a great way if you have a lot of different things that you're looking for insight into, because your higher self has all those answers. Whereas more the future visioning side of things is a little more focused on that timeline exploration, that kind of quantum reconnaissance to get you that information. So there's a lot of different ways that I have found help clients with this sort of a thing. And it really comes down to you and your goals and what you're looking for out of the experience, in how I tailor it to you. So I say it all the time, but I'll say it again. Hypnosis is such an individual experience where I can definitely share some generalities around what the process is like, what clients often experience, but experiencing it for yourself and how you will feel during that experience is unique to you. And so that's why I really encourage everyone to experience a session for themselves, rather than taking other people's word for it or just listening to stories, because while there's a lot of value in that, the personal experience is transformational in a different way. So that is what I will leave you with there. And yes, Corbin, indeed, hit the like for your future home. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Britt Merritt, I also need land to build my new home. And that's the thing, is oftentimes we're looking for different things. Maybe you're looking for a plot of land. Maybe someone else is looking for, a 3-story house. Maybe someone is looking for a rural property. Someone else is looking for a city property. And that's where, tapping into your own inner knowledge, your own inner knowing, that wisdom inside of you is invaluable in this sort of a thing, because no one knows you better than you. It's true. All right. So that's a little bit about future visioning and how I help clients to find this information. If you're a little less familiar with hypnosis, or if you are unfamiliar with that hypnotherapy process, I like to explain it similar to a guided meditation, where I'm using my voice and visualization to guide you into a relaxed and focused state. And that's how we are able to access that deep inner knowing, that inner wisdom, as well as your higher self, your past life, or your future life information. All of that is accessed within you because it is a part of you. We're not accessing some, mainframe out in the cosmos. This is integral to you and your being. And so when we have a session, it's all about relaxing and going with the experience, and I guide you there, and then we have a conversation. I ask you some questions, and we navigate that experience, that scene, based on what you're looking for, based on what we're going for. And so with the housing thing, we're going to look into a lot of different things, whether that be what it looks like, looking at the different rooms, looking at the kitchen, looking at the outside. What does the land look like? What does it feel like? Are there other buildings on the property? Is it an apartment? Is it a house? What are the neighbors like? What is, we can dig into all of those different details of like what the house looks like, what it is, what it feels like. But then we can also look into, okay, well, how did you sell your current house, or how did you get here? Let's dig into that insight for you, so that you have those stepping stones, so that you have that insight to navigate through that process. So hopefully that all makes sense. If anyone has any questions, or if there's anything specific that you're like, I've always wondered that, please put it in the chat, put it in the comments below. I do try to respond to everyone's comments, and I'm more than happy to answer questions or to give some more clarity. I talk about this a lot, and so sometimes I can find myself skipping over things that are foundational, or that are important to someone else, but I'm used to talking about this, so sometimes I can bounce around. Anyway, let me know. I'm here to answer questions, here to help. All right. Emma saying, I think I know where we're meant to go, but just have to figure out the path from here to there. Well, that's the thing, is you might know exactly where you want to go. You might have that vision in your mind, and that's where this sort of a process can help you understand those steps, understand those steps to get to that future, because it is can be really unknown. It can be stressful. It can be scary, as we've talked about. So all in all, definitely ways to approach this, no matter what your questions are, or what you know or don't know. There's value in this experience, for anyone looking for insight into their moves. All right. Before I go any further, I wanted to just pop up quick reminder for you guys. I've got my future, or sorry, not my future. We're talking about the future. I've got my past lives workshop coming up in just about a week. This is Past Lives, Present Clarity. And this is all about tapping into your past lives and getting you insight, clarity into anything you might need to release, or might need to let go of, or maybe something that that has connections to your current lifetime. And that insight, that acknowledgement, can help you to break cycles, break patterns, or to find clarity in what's going on in your present life. So this is great for beginners to experts. If you've had a session, if you haven't, if you know nothing about hypnosis, if you know a lot about hypnosis, this is a great opportunity to just get a feel for what working with me one-on-one might feel like, and also to engage in a group setting via Zoom, which is always fun. I really enjoy seeing people's faces, and going through this sort of an experience together, guiding you guys. And then it's really fun to be able to talk as well about what we experienced, what came up for folks, and help each other out by sharing that information as well. So All right. And oh, and I will pull up to the booking page is over on my website, and tickets are right here. Super easy to get access to, and you can buy them up until the day of. So make sure you secure those now. And I hope to see you all there. I hope to see you all there. All right. And yes, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the workshop for sure. And it looks like we have a comment from Musalchemy? Musalchemy? Hello, hello. Welcome to the chat and welcome to my channel. When we visualize our future house, should we expect the reality we're trying to manifest to be slightly different? Good question. So I will share some client experiences in just a moment that will illustrate this a little bit more. But that really depends on what your expectations are and what that reality is that you're moving towards. And the thing about working with the future and tapping into future timelines like this is that there are options. I've never seen someone like locked into one and only option as far as their future timeline goes. There is variety, there's option out there. And so this is something where if we do tap into a reality that is different in a way that you're not jiving with, that you don't like, well, then we can tune into a different timeline that you do like. And there's certainly ways to navigate that and to find what you're looking for. But I will say that oftentimes clients are surprised by what they see, and it's usually in a good way. I would say it's hardly ever in a bad way. If it is in a bad way, then like I said, we explore a different timeline and we get you that information that you're looking for. But hopefully that answers your question there. All right, all right, all right. So I just briefly wanted to share a little bit about my personal experience before I share some client session stories as well. And I'm going to take a drink of water quick before I do. I think it's something about being on camera and being live where I just talk and talk and talk. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't stop talking for half an hour. And here I am, like parched throat, and I need a drink. So anyway, the joys of being a YouTuber, right? All right, so my personal experience. Disclaimer, still in the process. We are still navigating this move, and so it is ongoing and there will be more to come. But I look forward to streaming from my future home at that point when we move, and showing you, hey guys, look, I found it. So we've been on this moving journey for quite some time, my husband and I, and we've been seriously thinking about it for a few years, and last year really started to take action on that and really start moving forward and taking steps to make this happen in real life. And there have been definitely plenty of delays and detours, and I have really appreciated the insights that I've been able to gain through this work to help me navigate that and to have peace with the process for sure. Awesome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I've definitely, we've had plenty of tarot readings on this. We've pulled cards ourselves on this moving process, but even after that sort of insight, after that clarity, there still was a missing piece. And when sorry guys, lost track of my notes here. There we go. Okay. So plenty of readings along this journey. We also worked with an amazing friend and energy worker who helped us in clearing our current house and understanding more of what the house needed from us. And that was a whole fascinating process that was just phenomenal. So I hope to have her on the channel at a future point to talk about her work and to share with you guys my own experience with that, because it really was quite profound. And that work did shift things in a dramatic way and helped to kind of lube up the gears a little bit and get things moving again. But there was still a missing piece there. And when throughout the past, I would say about year or so, I've had a few different sessions with different practitioners. and looked into my own future, looked into my own future timelines of what does that move look like? Where do we move? Really looking at different aspects of this move, from the house itself to the community to our neighbors, and found lots of really interesting information. But what was fascinating as well was that when I looked, I saw quite a different feeling future than my husband, because I took him as well to check this out and to look into our future home, because I didn't want it all to be on me, and he also wanted to have a piece of this journey, and to be able to tap into that as well. I didn't tell him much about what I saw when I took him forward, but what was really cool is that we are about 98% sure that we saw the same house, because there were a lot of the similar parts of it that we saw and that resonated. But what was really fascinating was how differently we perceived that home. And we realized throughout that session that when I tapped into it, it was a little further into the future than when he tapped into it, which was closer to our present. And so what he saw was a little bit of a different story. And what it helped us to do, though, was to have those conversations that we needed to have around our move, and helped us to gain some clarity on this move and what those challenges might be, what the differences in our realities would be moving into this new home. And so even though at first we were, I'll speak personally because I don't want to speak for him, but I was a little frustrated because I was like, no, the home that I saw, the future that I saw was fabulous. It was wonderful. It was like such good feelings. But what he tapped into was a little less rosy, and there was some challenge there. There was challenge is the only word that I'm thinking of, challenges there. And it allowed us to have that conversation of what might that look like and how do we navigate that. And so there's always a reason for what you're shown and what information comes through when you're doing a session like this. And it may help you in surprising ways, like it did us, and helped us to have those conversations. So, all right, catching up on the chat. Oh, hey, cool. Path 222 Water says, witnessing my friend do this now. Oh, how fun. Do a session, do like future visioning, or going through a move? Which one is it? And Carol's saying, that would be great, Jake. I didn't know you needed to do that with a house unless it was haunted, lol. Oh, yeah. The energy clearing. I assume that's what you're speaking of. It really depends. But, our house was built in 1908. And so there was a lot that came through in her work that was old stuff, that was old energy in the house, old energy on the property. And so it's not necessarily just if you're like feeling a haunted feeling, like that certainly is a sign that you should maybe clear some things, but it was something that we just felt called to. And the more that we worked with her, the more we realized, like, oh yeah, there's stuff going on here that isn't us, but that energy clearing was so necessary to help release that energy and clear things out, freshen things up for the new owners that will be moving in. So certainly a nuanced thing for sure. All right. And Emma's saying, yeah, it would be great. I will make that happen. I can't promise when, but I'll make it happen. Don't worry. All right. All right. Oh, she just got her real estate license. Oh, how fun. But also getting divorced, need to sell her house. Gotcha. Thanks for joining us. So glad you're here. Hope you enjoy the show. All right. So all in all, again, this journey for us is still ongoing. And so look forward to sharing more updates as we go along and as we move closer to this move. But I definitely don't want to get too sidetracked because I want to make sure that I share with you guys some client session stories. So the first client that I had exploring the future home was was a session that was kind of multifaceted. So the home piece, where was she going to move, was a part of this session, but she also wanted some clarity on her relationships, on her career. And certainly we can do kind of a multi-purpose session like that, where we look into a couple different things. If your primary focus, though, is this moving or is finding a new property, then I definitely encourage you to focus in on that. And we can do a full session with that in mind, because it allows us to ask a lot more questions, gain a lot more clarity for you, really dig into the details and cover kind of the whole gambit. So all in all, I will say that before we dive in, but this client was coming out of a pretty tough breakup and a shift in her relationship and her future trajectory. So she had been in this relationship, had been planning on that future, and suddenly things shifted and changed. And so she was really uncertain about what that future was going to look like and what she was going to do and how it was going to happen. She certainly wasn't like the most hopeless after that relationship. She knew that she would be okay, but she wanted some clarity. She wanted some insight. And so when we were talking before the session, like I said, there were a few different pieces that she wanted to look at. And what was really interesting was that, and I see this with other clients as well, these different pieces of our lives can be interwoven and can connect to each other. And so for this client, her relationships had a real big impact on her housing situation, on where she was moving, on where she was going to live. And I think that is probably not a surprise to most of you. Our relationships, our careers, our families, all of these things can affect our home, our location, our relocation. And so when I took this client ahead to see her future, and see where she was living, see what her life was like at this point, it surprised her. So let me play that clip, and then we'll talk a bit more about what came through and what she saw. So let me pop that up for you.
Well, I was really surprised to see that. It really felt like it was exactly what I wanted. I walked into a living room. It was really warm and lots of built-in shelves, and from where I walked in, there's a big couch that looked out like a whole wall of tall windows, but it's all like very cozy. But the windows looked out and beautiful green, lots of trees outside. And yeah, I definitely had a partner. And yeah, it felt really good. And a cat.
Mm-hmm. All right. So it was a little bit tough to hear there with some of the emotion coming through. But at the beginning, she said, I was just surprised that it looked exactly how I wanted it to look. And I love that sort of a surprise within a session, where there is that positive surprise of it's better than I thought, or it's exactly what I wanted, or that is my dream. And those sorts of moments are just so beautiful. And you could hear the emotion too when she recognized that she had a partner there, and also a cat. And I think that that emotion welling up is, I mean, number one, cathartic, right? We all know that when we cry, it really helps to release that energy blocked up in our body, helps to shift things, and does definitely a lot more than just let water out of our eyes, right? But that emotional piece is such beautiful confirmation as well for those beautiful moments. And I think that uh, the other piece that I'll say about that session was that um, the different elements of her home, she's able to see those different elements and to feel what it felt like to be there, right? She said it's cozy, it's warm here, and those feelings, um, they give you more than just that visual, uh, and I think this is really easy to understand because, if you go on Zillow and you look up houses and you're looking at those photos, that can be one thing. But then you go and you visit that house, you go in person and you see it, totally different story. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes. And so I think that's where understanding how it feels to be there is so powerful, so impactful. And one of the reasons that I think that this sort of a technique, this approach of tapping into your future and seeing it, feeling it, touching it, experiencing it is I think it's the tool of the future. And I really think that more and more people are going to realize that this allows them to unlock their timelines in a new and different way that is so powerful. And I've seen this in my own life. I've seen this in clients' lives. And that's why I like to share these things. So thank you, Britt Merritt. Fantastic, right? Isn't it? And absolutely, Corbin. My pleasure to share these, and thank you to the clients who are willing to allow me to share these sorts of things with you guys, because I mean, sessions can be vulnerable moments, and I think that sharing those experiences with the collective helps us to all grow, and I think that there's value in that sharing. So glad you enjoyed. Absolutely, Emma. Absolutely. All right. So all in all, the other thing that I'll mention too about tapping into the future energies like this is that it's really about aligning yourself with that timeline, with that energy, so that you can manifest it faster. What was it, a couple months ago? Y'all, time is hard to keep track of these days, but I think it was a couple months ago when I had my Aunt Leah on, the Wellness Garden Tool Shed, Leah Reinhardt, and we talked about manifestation. We talked about tapping into and using all of our different senses to manifest faster and manifest more accurately. And I think that this is just another way that we can tap into and amplify that manifestation power to get there faster. And that's what I see with this future work, is that when we tap into that, it happens quicker than even we saw, because just the act of tapping in changes the timeline and changes the trajectory, and tapping in and aligning with it makes it happen so much faster. So it's pretty cool stuff. So I will say, after this session, the client shared with me that she had the courage to talk to her friend who she saw living with her in this home, and started to take steps towards that future. And that's what I love to see. And that's my hope, is that when I help you when I help you tap into this, that it gives you that courage, it gives you that clarity, it gives you that drive to move towards it, because we build our futures, we build our realities. And I think that, again, this is such a valuable tool for helping you to build the reality that you want. So, all right, I'm getting close on time here, guys, but I want to share one more client session story before we go. So this was another multi-purpose session. I do get people who want to look into a few different things. And like I said before, if you want to get really focused in, it allows us to really dig deep and get the most out of that one topic. But certainly we can keep it a little more surface and go through different pieces of your life, whether that be career, home, family, relationship, getting into all the little stuff. But this was a multi-purpose session, and when she tapped into this future home, when she tapped into this future property that she had, it was just really cool to see her demeanor shift and to see her really embody this feeling of calm that that this future property took her to, and that it helped her to feel. And it was, I guess I'll just jump in and we'll share the first clip, and then we'll talk a little bit more, because this first clip is her exploring her future home and some of the initial information that came through. She is talking a little quietly, so if you don't have your subtitles on yet, I encourage you to turn your subtitles on, because it helps to clarify what is being said. All right, let me play that for you, and we'll keep rocking and rolling.
Where is this home?
It does feel a little bit more secluded. Like it's not in the suburbs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we have a nice porch and a little like gravel path, like we can take a walk around our property, and it'd be like a nice walk, almost like almost a hobby farm.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you have a little bit of land then.
Mm-hmm. Lots of tree coverage.
Wonderful. What else do you notice about this land? Is there just your house on it? Are there other structures? What else do you see?
I think we have like a pole barn. And there's a place where if someone had an RV, they could park there. But there's not really the structures that I had envisioned, but there's space for people to come visit. There's lots of, I have a big herb garden, and I make my own tea with it.
How wonderful.
All right, so you heard the different details that we were able to get from that. And I saw Lynn pop in. Hello, Lynn. No worries. Glad you're already in your dream home. That is beautiful. I love it. A hobby farm. Yes, absolutely. Right. I know. It's the dream for a lot of us, right? Oh, I'm sorry, Emma. You'll have to go back and listen again. The pieces that were important were definitely the information that she got there, around the different pieces of this property, her garden that she saw. And she went on to share a lot around how just calm she felt here, how at peace she felt here. And what was really interesting was that one of the challenges that she was looking for insight into of, how does this challenge change in the future, or do I overcome this challenge, was this idea of overthinking and being really focused on other people's opinions, other people's problems with her. And what was fascinating was that she shared that it was no longer a problem in this new property. So let me share that clip quick, because I thought it was fun.
Just keep seeing myself like walking through my garden and just my hand through all the herbs and flowers, and I do what I want with people, and I'm just so at peace and content that if anyone has an issue, it's their issue, not mine.
Mm-hmm. How wonderful.
I love that. If anyone has an issue, it's their issue, not mine. And I think that was definitely a key piece of that session, was how this new location, this new home, just gave her this sense of peace and calm. And she talked about, I love the visual of her like walking through her garden and like trailing her hand through the herbs, It just sounded so beautiful. And I see Corbin and Lynn talking about the herb garden that Lynn has, and I bet you have similar experiences walking through your herb garden and brushing the herbs and just feeling that grounding energy. And so that's really, I think, one of the other fun parts of this sort of a work and this sort of future exploration and reconnaissance is understanding how the different pieces of your life can shift and change, and how things like the challenges of your present can shift in surprising ways once you move locations, or you find that place that really speaks to you. And, you know, she had said, well, I'm not really seeing all of the different structures that I thought I would see. And that's sort of an insight, that's sort of an observation, is not something that you just need to accept, like, oh, well, I guess I'm not going to build those things. No, it's an invitation to make that future even better than you saw it, even better than you dreamed, because the future is malleable and timeline switches happen. I don't know. I mean, I think it's hard to quantify it, but I think that timeline shifts happen way more frequently than we're aware of. Some of the bigger ones, some of the more collective ones, I think happen a little more, you know, people can feel it a little more energetically. But I believe that every shift and change and different decision that we make shifts us into different timelines. And so I think that there's just value in understanding the power that you have to shape the future that you want. And if you see something like that where not my favorite, that wasn't what I envisioned, then change it. Then take actions to do that. You know, when she moves into that home, she can just make a plan of like, I'm going to build this, and I'm going to get this built, and I'm going to have someone work on this, and she can make that reality what she wants it to be. Now, this would definitely be a situation where if we were just looking at the home, if we were just looking at that relocation piece, you know, maybe we tap into a different timeline and see if that's more aligned with what she wants. But obviously, this was within a more a broader session, and so we didn't dig deep into that piece. But it was fascinating information, and she came out of that session really excited for that future and for that home, because she was dreaming of it. All right. Let's see. What else do I have to share with you guys? Well, without further ado, I'll just pull back up on my website here. And I've got my bookings page pulled up. So if you are looking for insight into your future home, if you are looking for a session tailored to you and your goals and your needs as far as relocation goes, or finding your dream home, or making that move smoother, then this future visioning is what you're going to want to schedule and book with me. And this is a 2-hour session, and we'll dig into all of those pieces of your move or of your dream home that you're interested in understanding, in gaining clarity on. And I really do think that this is such a powerful tool, which is why I practice it, which is why I share it with folks, because I've experienced it personally. I've seen it change the lives of people that I've worked with, and it's really cool stuff. So all in all, if you're interested in a session of your own, head on over to my website, book that future visioning session. Or if you want to talk a little bit beforehand, if you want to get a feel for what a session might be like, or if you have more questions, book that free preliminary consultation as well, and we can chat. So, all right. Other than that, let's see. I wanted to share with you guys that I am working on a free meditation around this topic. So a free meditation to help you tap into your future home. So if you're not necessarily gung-ho about a session right away, or if you maybe aren't in a financial position where you're ready to pull the trigger on that, this meditation will be coming soon, and I'll make sure to announce that to you guys here and on my socials. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow, so that you don't miss that when that comes out, because I think that the free meditations are a great way to start tapping into that energy, to get a little bit of information for yourself. And especially if you're not sure yet about a one-on-one session, great way to get an introduction to the idea. So I will make sure to let you guys know when that's happening, and that will be coming soon. All in all, though, just to kind of recap, pull it all together, wrap it up with a nice bow. Oh, and I keep getting distracted from the chat. Looks like we have some questions. Let's see. I guess I'll answer these questions quick. So Balthazar, hello Balthazar, thanks for joining us. So you travel to different iterations of this universe. Sort of. I don't have a definitive definition on what iterations of the universe we're in. I think of this as timelines, and I very much view the world and our reality as quantum, and that idea that past, present, future is all happening at the same time, and that we've got different multiverses layered on top of the different dimensions. And so in this work, we tap into those future timelines, and we're able to do that because you are connected quantumly to these future versions of you, to these future timeline options, and that's what allows us to tap into it. And I don't claim to be a quantum physicist or to have all the answers as far as the universe works, but that's generally how I think of it on kind of a pretty brief level. It's certainly a complicated topic, and I think there's a lot of nuance to it. I also believe that our own beliefs and our own ideas about reality and about the universe can influence what we see and how we perceive. So I definitely, I hope that helps a little bit. I don't have a definitive answer for you, but kind of we tap into different iterations. Oh, I love that, Emma. Yeah, see what your higher self wants to show you. And that is part of it too. I certainly have the intention of working with our higher selves, working with your higher self within a session. So even in a future visioning session where we might not be speaking directly to your future or to your higher self, they're part of the game. They're here helping and supporting you. And so when it comes to what is shown, that is partially due to your higher self and what they choose to show you. There is also the guiding piece of it. And so when we're doing a session, when we're approaching that for you individually, we're going to look at what you want to know, what you want to find out. We can look at different options, or we can just see how that option that you have in mind plays out. There's a lot of different ways we can approach it. But Balthasar, if you have more questions, if you want to know more, feel free to book that free 30-minute consultation with me, and we can certainly chat more about what a session looks like, what this sort of thing is. And yeah, happy to do that. Carol asking, can you do the house session over Zoom, or do you need to be in person? No, you can do that over Zoom. So my only offering that I offer strictly in person is QHHT. That's the quantum healing hypnosis. And that is because the quantum healing hypnosis folks, the institution behind that technique, are very strict and very clear that they only want that in person. So that's the only one that can be only in person. All of my other offerings, whether that be higher guidance hypnosis, or future visioning, those can be offered online via Zoom. So certainly an option if you are not local to me. Happy to do that sort of a session over Zoom. So thanks for that question. Good one. Lakeside Laura, so good to see you. Thanks for popping in. All the love to you. All right. Let's see if there's any more questions in the chat. Oh, and we got Beth popping in. Hello. Have fun cooking. And, ooh, curry. That sounds good. I love curry. All right, friends, let's wrap this thing up. So all in all, moving, relocating, finding your dream home, or just finding your next home can be such an overwhelming process. And as someone who is easily overwhelmed by life, I get it. I totally do. It is understandable. And that's where using the tools that are available to you and really taking that control of the situation, taking your power back and saying, I'm going to take action to make my future what I want. It really is transformational, and I think is the best way to navigate these sorts of things. I think life in general, right? I mean, taking your power back and saying, this is the reality I want, and this is how I want to move through the world, I think is really, really important. And the mystery of it all as well, when we're looking at moving, when we're looking at relocating, there's a lot of unknowns, right? And these can be debilitating, these can be fearful, these can be anxiety inducing. But I think that all in all, regardless of why you're moving or what's motivating you to move, this is a wonderful tool for helping you to really get that clarity and information you're looking for, understand your steps, understand what blocks might come up, understand what you need to do to clear the energy of your current home and let it go, or what to be looking for in that future home. It can even help you understand maybe roadblocks or challenges in the selling process and buying process. Maybe it's the price that you need to set your home at, or maybe it's the amount of offers that are going to come in on your home. And there's a lot of different ways that this can play out, and all of that information can be available to you. Now, whether it's appropriate or not for you to know it, that is up to your higher self, and that is up to you and your soul and how you chose to live this incarnation, because there are certain things that we choose to experience, we choose to live in our lives. And as I've heard many a higher self say, asking for some answers or some information is like asking for answers to the test before you've taken the test. And some of us, we gotta take the test. We gotta live that life. We've got to experience the experience in order to fulfill our sole purpose of why we came here, or to go through those experiences, those lessons that we chose. But that doesn't mean that you can't get information, clarity, that you can't find out a whole lot around this topic and your dream home, because ultimately your higher self wants the best for you as well. And if you're feeling that pull, if you're feeling that draw to move, there's a reason for that. And tapping into your subconscious mind in this way, having a session and looking inward is the best way, I think, to find that information. So, oh, and I see we've got some new friends in the chat as well. Bluebird Free, hello. You are new here. Well, if you are looking for help finding your new place to live, I certainly can offer you a session. Check out my website for more information on that, on my booking page as well. Otherwise, if you want some information, make sure you go back and watch the rest of the show, because we've been going for a little over an hour here, and lots of good information in here around how I help clients navigate this sort of a thing. So, but I definitely think that a one-on-one session is the best way to get this information for yourself. All right, let's see. All right, guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. All in all, if you're looking for options, if you're looking for clarity, if you're looking for information, if you're just looking to get a little bit of eyes on this future property and where you might be moving next, I definitely suggest future visioning, having a session with me. It's been profoundly transformational in my own life, and I love sharing this with clients. So if you are ready to do that, make sure you head on over to my booking page, and which I will pull up just one more time for you guys. I'll pull up my main website here. I've got all my information around my practice, working on some updates to this, so stay tuned for that. If you click on that bookings button, it'll bring you over to my bookings page as well, where you can see all of my one-on-ones, as well as my group workshop, which I'm excited to offer you guys next week. This is the Past Lives, Present Clarity workshop. It is beginner friendly, so if you have no experience, that's no problem. Come and join us. All I ask is that you come curious and with an open mind. And there's so much that can be gained from exploring our past. And it's not about going back into the trauma or going back into the past and getting mired in it. It's about understanding, finding that clarity and that insight so that you can release it and let it go. Because if we haven't resolved things from our past, that's when they can hang on to us and they can cling on to us, and they can affect our present. So if you're feeling the call, please join us for this pretty affordable price. It'll be about a 90-minute experience, and it's on Zoom. So wherever you are in the world, it is available to you. If you're not able to make it live, I do offer that replay as well. But I definitely encourage you to come live because I think it's a different experience to be live with the group. And of course, I'm happy to answer questions as well throughout that process. But yeah, it's a real fun time, and I hope to see you all there. All right. Other than that, guys, please make sure you hit the like button on your way out. It really does help support the channel and get the information out there. Make sure you share this out with anyone who may be in the middle of a move, or maybe thinking about a move, or maybe just dreaming of their dream home. Share this out with them so that they can get the insight and the information that I shared today, and know about my services that I offer to help you all navigate this. Lastly, make sure you subscribe as well. Because of course you don't want to miss any future content. And yeah, all in all, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your, whatever it is. I mean, it's evening here. Enjoy the rest of your evening if you're in my time zone. If you're watching on replay, thanks so much for joining us. And I'll see you all next time. All right, bye.